Why aren't you recording this?
We are.
Oh, what?
Shimona.
I'm like, this is so good. Why are we not recording this? We are. My bad. I don't screw that up.
Guys, welcome to Real Awkward, the best damn podcast you heard today. My name's Andy.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Ashley.
And we are here to grace your ears with wonderfulness.
Yeah.
Today. Amanda, this is your episode to Sri Lanka. I don't know what that means.
It's a location.
She is going to do something fun and special for us. Amanda, the floor is yours. Tell us what's happening today.
Okay. Let me start you off with a question. This is for both of you.
Okay.
Is Elvis alive?
No.
Elvis or Delvis?
Fucking
Because
Delvis.
I know his brother is still out there somewhere. Elvis, I think if he was still alive, he ain't anymore.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, at this point,
Yeah.
he's probably
Okay, fine.
dead.
Elvis is probably on a respirator somewhere.
Wait, do you think that if Elvis was still alive and then he actually died, that it would come out that he was actually alive
No,
and then
because he
died?
probably would have gone with another name, moniker, something, and then that died. So
Yeah.
it's like, my name...
Delvis Nestle.
Yep. My name's Thomas Jimmisons.
Thomas Jimmisons.
And it's just like, oh no, guys.
You don't think
the old-
somebody knows, though?
The old guy in the West Wing of the old folks' home just passed away. Oh, was that Thomas Jefferson?
Jefferson? What do you have, Amanda?
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, so he had a lot of sideburns.
A lot of them, not just two.
Multiple sideburns on his face.
That's when you know.
He looked like
you've
an
gone
anime
too
character.
far. You look like Wolverine.
So basically, I wanted to talk about some like celebrity death conspiracy theories. I think that there are multiple celebrities that either their deaths are questionable or there's not a lot of information about it. And so I think that it's just something that's interesting to talk about.
It is interesting to talk about because I have heard some conspiracy theories myself.
And so I kind of, first of all, thank you, Wikipedia. But I kind of have some information, but like I'm sure that there are some theories I missed or whatever.
Fair.
I kind of just went with what I could find the most information about, kind of what was most widely talked about. So I might be missing some wild ones or whatever.
Right.
But
So-
who cares about them wild ones?
So
Yeah.
what you're telling us, these are the popular, these are the ones that people straight up talk about.
Yeah, these are the ones that like
Everybody.
like involving certain celebrities. These are the ones that the theories continue to
Right,
pop up.
Right.
So
Okay, let's do it.
we're gonna start with
Delvis.
Tupac.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, all right.
I was about to sing a Tupac song,
Tupac.
and then I realized that I don't have one right on the top of my head.
California.
Knows how to party. California knows how to party. In the city of Compton.
Okay.
And keep a... Okay.
Let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West.
Okay.
Okay, so Tupac Shakur, so basically, if you don't know who Tupac is,
So that's his birth name. Come
I
out.
don't- I don't
you know
actually
what?
know.
That's little Tupac Shakur.
this little Tupac. So obviously he's a rap artist. He had some trouble with the law, but
Sure, yes.
he early 90s, he was in nothing but trouble. And
he was, wasn't he?
he was. So basically there was like this feud, right, between like a couple different of the record companies and the labels, and like there was a huge feud between Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac.
Yeah, the East Side versus the West Side.
Yes.
West Side.
And
Right,
so a lot of people think that kind of what happened to Tupac was caused by Notorious B.I.G.
Right.
And then some people think that other people were involved with
Sure,
the
sure.
shooting of Tupac. And what's interesting is, so let me just start here. So Tupac was shot in a drive-by shooting in Las
Right.
Vegas, September 7th, 1996.
Okay.
He was 25. It was 11:15 p.m. So
Okay, late, dark.
very late. They were heading to a club.
Yeah.
So he was riding in the passenger seat of a car that Suge Knight was driving.
Okay.
Suge Knight was the manager at Death Row Records.
Got it.
Or he's the CEO of Death Row Records.
Got it.
So they were together, and a lot of people will say that, you know, there's some more information I have too, but basically Suge kind of owned Tupac. So Tupac was signed to different record labels.
Yeah.
But he was actually in jail for like sexual assault. Like it was like bad. He had a $3 million bail. So whatever he did, I didn't read into it.
Spicy meatball.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And so basically, I think it was Tower Records, but I could be wrong, who owned his contract.
Okay.
So basically, they didn't know what to do with him. They had this artist who was in jail.
Right.
And they're like, what the fuck do we do?
Can't make money off of him.
But
can't
he's
do anything
insanely
right now.
popular right now.
Sure.
So basically, Suge Knight called whatever record label it was and just said, give me the contract.
Like, I'll buy
take
the
him off your
contract.
hands.
He basically bought the contract.
Okay.
So he basically posted Tupac's bail with the understanding that you now are for Death Row Records.
Right, and I just saved your life
I
out of that jail
essentially
or whatever.
own
yeah.
you.
Right.
So
Right.
there was a lot of turmoil there because I don't think Tupac wanted to be with Death Row. That's
Sure.
also, I think, where Snoop Dogg was. And there was always rumblings that he was trying to get out of the contract or trying to leave. So, Tupac is in the passenger seat. Suge Knight's driving the car.
Okay.
Just the two of them.
Right.
They're heading to another club with there's another car going with them, but they weren't like riding caravan style. You know what I mean?
Okay. It was just like, meet me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they are stopped at a red light. So a car pulls up next to them on the right side, so on the passenger side. And someone in the back seat of the car rolls down the window and starts firing into the vehicle. Tupac was shot 4 different times.
Wow. Damn.
Suge Knight, being on the opposite side of the vehicle, was not hit at all.
Whoa. Crazy.
He was hit. He had some injuries to his face from
Okay.
window shrapnel, some
Sure.
vehicle shrapnel.
Okay.
They were both obviously rushed to the hospital. Tupac was in a coma for a few days and died on September 13th.
Okay.
So he was alive for a couple days.
Right.
And then died. Suge Knight was pretty much discharged from the hospital.
Right.
within
Took his
24 hours.
Band-Aid off and then went home.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So that right there is questionable because it's why was he not hit at all? Because I guess
Sure.
the car is just
So they don't know how many bullets were actually shot, though?
I don't know.
I mean, they probably do if we looked at reports.
I'm sure.
But the fact that he got hit 4 times, I'm assuming it wasn't only 4 shots. It's probably as fast as you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Unless-
at that close range, though,
Yeah.
you could just go bam, 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 bam.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, but
'Cause
there was.
It's not like an Uzi, right? It wasn't like.
No, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was damage to the vehicle because
Right.
they had a flat tire.
Right.
So, assumingly they shot more than 4 times.
Right.
But I don't actually have I wasn't looking at police records.
I
So-
didn't do some detective work.
I did some. I just didn't really
It's just
dive
I'm
deep
just
because
kidding.
it didn't
doesn't
matter.
really matter.
So, the first thing that was rumored was that the Notorious B.I.G. was involved.
Right. I remember because since they had the feud, that makes sense.
And there was a lot of rumors that he was involved and all this stuff. And then not too long thereafter, a few months later, the Notorious B.I.G. is gunned down.
Right.
And there was a lot of
Right.
rumors that it was Suge Knight who did it.
So they thought it was like turf war stuff.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Payback.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But a lot of people also believe that Suge Knight was involved in the killing of Tupac.
What? Okay, I'm gonna let you keep going. It seems
So
to not
I have a
make
little bit
sense
more information about
why
that, so
you
I'm going
would
to get there.
kill Tupac. But
Well, so basically, a lot of people claim, there's new music coming out from Tupac all the time. And
sure,
like
unreleased tracks. and stuff
unreleased
like that,
tracks. So how is he making all this music if he's been
Right.
dead for over
Right,
10 years?
Right.
And so he's also reportedly been seen many times.
Right.
There was even a video that came out a couple years ago, and there's a guy in the background who's walking around. It looks just like Tupac.
Right. Right.
And one popular theory that gets floated around a lot is that he faked his death and fled to Cuba to escape like the kind of dangerous life he'd made for himself and stuff.
Sure.
But it was to hide from Suge Knight.
Interesting.
And basically, like, because Suge Knight owned him.
Right.
And he didn't want to be with Death Row Records anymore. He wanted to do his own thing. And Suge Knight was very much like controlling his image and his career and all this stuff.
He was like, you are mine.
I think he very much wanted to be his own artist.
Sure.
And then I don't know, but I know that Suge Knight he's been involved with the police a lot.
Right.
Sounds like a very scary person.
Yeah.
And just the fact that this vehicle had been shot into multiple times, that he had 0 injuries. Like, if you're in a drive-by shooting,
right.
Like, if it isn't targeted at one person,
Right.
why?
Was Tupac in the passenger seat, you said?
Yes, Tupac was in the passenger seat,
okay.
and the car pulled up on Tupac's side.
I feel like, though, like if it was a setup, Tupac would have been like in the back seat and Suge was driving. That way he was like, hey, listen, if you're going to start firing on this car, I don't want to be near where you're firing. So if it's actually going to happen. And also, I don't even know if you would put yourself in danger to even have shots fired at the car being Suge Knight. But,
right.
But these guys get crazy.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing that's crazy is, Tupac shooters were never found.
Right.
And neither were the Notorious B.I.G.'s.
Right.
So, there, and as far as like the conspiracies about his death.
Yeah.
Or about the shooting, it's pretty much centered around Biggie and Suge Knight.
Those are the two primary suspects.
Either they
that
were in
involved.
on it together, or
right,
like Notorious B.I.G. had the hit done, or that Suge basically took him out.
I don't know the timeline here, but it seems like if you just bailed Tupac out and now he's going to be rapping for you, the only reason you would kill him is if you found out he was going to flee to Cuba or something like that. But
yeah, so that's the thing is for me where I don't know the timeline there.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, that's a lot of money to just lose. Because if he dies, I don't know if you get that bail money back.
No, well, sure.
Right.
That makes sense. So then the conspiracy at this point for this death is that he fled or left or was, I mean, Suge Knight is still alive?
Yeah,
I'm
think so.
so.
I think he's in jail.
So you might not see Tupac until he passes away, maybe.
Right, and
then
so,
he'll come back and be like, "Nobody got me now."
It's interesting because
know.
I tried to do a little bit of investigation of
some things will never change.
Kind of like around like Tupac's inner circle.
Oh, sure.
So the man who discovered Tupac, as soon as Tupac was shot, he retired.
Oh, okay.
Tupac's family, his mother, his very close inner circle of like people, did not cooperate with the police at all.
Interesting.
His mother did not cooperate. There were a lot of things where people wanted his family members to make a statement. They would not. A lot of them were missing for multiple days right when this was happening.
Yeah.
Leading people to speculate that he didn't die and that they were facilitating him getting out of there and faking his own death.
They're like, somebody needs to buy the crates and the packing peanuts for him to lay in this box while we ship him out.
And so that's the thing is, some reports say that they, because at this point Tupac had a little bit of money that he paid some people off to just let him slip out the back.
Right.
Or whatever. And, then, it's also one of those things where it's like, there's also the coroner's report and stuff like that. But, as far as his death goes, there isn't a ton of information because no one would talk to the police.
Do you also think that the police maybe didn't push it because
probably not?
They were like, dude, these turf wars been going on.
You don't want to get involved.
Now that these two kingpins of both sides, as they saw them, are out of the picture, we get to move on. I wonder, and so that doesn't help with an investigation on what's going on, but I think it's crazy for that to happen because that has happened. Like, people fake their death to try to go do stuff, and it always seems far-fetched because it's a popular artist. You'd see him out on the streets or whatever.
Well, especially, now it would be very difficult to disappear.
Sure.
Very difficult.
Big Brother going to find you.
But back in the 90s, it was meh. But like even back earlier, you could easily disappear.
Oh, absolutely.
There's actually a serial killer, not a serial killer, but he killed his whole family. His name was John List. I want to say 60s or 70s, okay? He killed his mother, his wife, and his children in their home. They all lived in the home together. He killed them all. He basically turned the heat all the way off in the middle of like the fall or winter and just walked out the door. So their bodies weren't discovered right away.
Wait, that's how he killed him? They just froze to death?
No, I'm sorry.
He
shot them
sorry.
all.
He's like,
No.
they'll never know.
So basically what happened was as each kid, he killed his wife and then his mother.
Wow.
And then as each kid came home from school, he waited for them, he shot them, and he killed.
That's crazy.
He put them in the ballroom. So basically they had this huge mansion and stuff, and he had lost his job, and he didn't tell his wife.
Oh.
And he was like going to the train station every day for work just to waste time. And it got to the point where there was no money left.
Right.
So instead of getting a job, he just kills his whole family.
That's crazy.
So this was so long ago, and there's no cell phones or anything to keep track of you.
I mean, we're talking 70 years.
He just walks out the door one day.
Yeah.
And 1970 was not 70 years ago, but okay.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said 60.
It was 60s or 70s. I don't exactly remember.
It would
when.
have been 60 years ago. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm off by a decade. Okay.
It's okay. So basically, he just leaves, and his family's found, and they pretty much assume he did it, like all this stuff.
Right.
But he's nowhere.
But he's just gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's just gone.
Well, 25, 30 years later, the original series of Unsolved Mysteries, like the Robert Stack episodes,
Right.
they do an episode about the John List family murders. And they make like a bust of like an aged bust from a photo.
What he would look like
What
now.
he would look
Yeah.
like. And apparently some woman in some random town was like, that looks like so-and-so from church.
Oh,
Well, he'd
my
been
God.
living in this whole other town. He had a whole new family, a life.
Wow.
And they had no idea.
Yeah.
And so it's like, back then,
Yeah.
I can totally get somebody just disappears.
Yeah, but even Tupac, like you said, 1996.
Yeah.
Like we're approaching.
We're getting into the realm of...
We're getting into 30 years, right? Like we're not that far away from it. So
1996 was what, 25 years
yeah,
ago?
but even
So
back
he'd be
then-
50 now?
Yeah. Right. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know
unless
what a
he's still
50-year-old
unless
Tupac
he's
looks
still
like.
dressing in overalls and a
Bulletproof jacket.
And a bandana.
and a bowed top bandana and still shaving his head.
Well, I mean, he would dress in the bulletproof jacket and, he would be like, people are trying to kill me, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously people were trying to kill him.
So what do you think? Do you think he actually faked
I don't
it?
know. Part of me wants to believe he's alive.
Yeah.
I think feasibly, like, it's hard because he got shot 4 times.
Yeah. Right.
The chances of living through that are slim.
Yeah. Right.
But it may be, he did die.
Yeah.
They were able to revive him, so he was pronounced dead.
Then he was on witness protection.
Well, or maybe he was under witness protection,
Yeah.
or maybe he did go to Cuba.
Right.
So I don't know.
Crazy.
This is one where it's kind of like, yeah, it could be, maybe.
Say if you're out there right now and you guys listen from Cuba, let us know. Anybody look like Tupac over there?
Yeah. I think the video that people thought was Tupac was New York City.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
But that was Biggie's side.
I think
Because
so.
Tupac is West Coast,
Yeah.
Biggie was East Coast. So I wouldn't show my face in New York City. No
I mean,
way.
Biggie's been dead for a while too, so
Maybe.
Biggie would be harder to hide, so I think he's dead.
Is that a fat joke?
Yeah. His name was the Notorious B.I.G.
Okay. What's your next victim?
Elvis.
Elvis. Elvis. Now, this is, to me, I think the most popular one.
Yes.
That Elvis is still alive, or that he was still alive. I think now I don't think
at
that's
this
possible.
point, like, so basically, yeah, he died in the 70s,
Right.
supposedly. So,
but
like,
then again, he was born in the 30s, something like that.
he was 42 when he died. So he was born in 1935.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
boom. Who can do math?
So he could
motherfucker?
still be alive, but he'd be 90.
That's the
Probably
thing.
not.
So here's my deal: is
Yeah.
some of these were so long ago that maybe they are gone now.
Sure.
But like, maybe they did fake their death.
Right.
So, Elvis is easily one of the biggest rumored
Right.
celebrity death conspiracy people. A lot of people say he's still alive. Some say that he still lives at Graceland, his mansion. I think that's not possible.
Yeah, right.
I've always wanted to go to Graceland,
Yeah.
but apparently it's really expensive to walk through.
Interesting.
And, but I don't know, dude. If I'm ever in Memphis, like, I gotta do it. I'm a huge Elvis fan,
Yeah.
so like, I'd have to.
Memphis, baby.
So Elvis died August 16th, 1977.
Okay.
He was 42. Yeah, a lot of people think he faked his death, went into hiding. There's a lot of jokes he died on the toilet. Like
Eating a sandwich.
Some people say he choked on a sandwich. Some people say he died of a drug overdose.
Oh, baloney.
It was pretty obvious, especially like Elvis's comeback tour in the 70s, that
Yeah.
like he was not in the same shape that he was.
No, dude. And what's crazy is that he was only in his 40s, which,
Yes.
to be fair, you should be able to hopefully keep your physique long enough. But he did. He looked like, to me, when I see those pictures, I thought he was like mid 50s before I knew
basically,
timelines. But
he drank
yeah,
constantly.
Right.
He had a notorious drug problem,
Right.
and he had people around him to just feed him
Right.
whatever he wanted.
Right.
There are documented reports and like things of like everything Elvis's like cooks would make him in a day, and you're just like, Jesus Christ!
You're like, no wonder you're Dale.
Like, yeah, like there are these sandwiches that like bacon and peanut butter and like all this shit, and you're like, dude, half of that would give me a heart attack. You ate two.
I would die right
Like-
now. So why? You're probably getting to it, but I'm wondering why he would have faked his death.
Well, so I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah.
So, in 1989, three huge Elvis fans. I saw reports that they were Elvis impersonators, but I couldn't verify that.
Okay.
They created the Elvis Sighting Society to
Oh.
monitor
Oh.
the apparent Elvis sightings.
I feel like I've heard this
Because there are
before.
apparently so many.
You're right.
But apparently, some people claim that you can see Elvis in the background shot of Home Alone.
Interesting.
That he's like an extra in Home Alone.
See, the problem with Elvis is that he truly does have so many impersonators that it would be hard these
Yeah.
days to even be like, oh, that's,
Yeah, but I mean, like
That's the
a
real
guy
Elvis.
with dark hair,
Yeah.
that is just kind of up with any type of thick sideburn.
It's going to look
and
like
you'd
Elvis.
be like, that's
Yeah,
Elvis.
that's Elvis.
So,
Or any janitor in the school district.
so there are a lot of reasons why people think Elvis faked his death.
Okay.
One of the big one is people think that he did it to escape the mafia.
Okay, sure.
There is a woman who wrote a few books about Elvis, believe he had to be put into witness protection to hide from the mafia.
Interesting. So he got in deep, maybe, with
Elvis was actually rumored to be an FBI informant because he was buying planes and he was doing a lot of stuff, and supposedly there were some drugs being brought in on the planes, and the mafia was involved.
Right.
And so then the FBI reached out to Elvis and wanted him to basically be a mole.
Got it.
But I mean, there was some weird shit going on because Elvis and Richard Nixon were friendly.
I'm not a crook.
Elvis was the head of like the drug task force. There's a picture of him and Nixon like shaking hands,
Right
and
after
he's
they
in
did
like
the
this
dirty
like
sugar.
bedazzled like cape, and
Yeah.
it's like, bitch, you know you just did a ton of cocaine. Like,
Yeah, right.
so
So he got in hot. It's not unbelievable that he got in hot shit just living the lifestyle he was.
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, like, that is the big one because like Elvis loved his fame, he loved his fortune. He did spend a lot of money, but he also made a lot of money.
Sure.
So it wasn't like he was bankrupt and
Right.
he,
Right.
he had all this stuff going for him. The only thing that was really the negative was his lifestyle.
Sure. Sure.
So a lot of people think that he was made an informant for the FBI, and they put him into witness protection, and that's how he was able to like totally disappear.
I mean, that
But
makes sense.
If you loved your life and your fortune and everything, why would you agree
Right, you
to
take
go
the risk,
into witness
right?
protection?
Unless he had attempts on his life already and was like, "There's no way I'll survive this."
That's how he learned how to do karate. Well, so like to that point,
Yeah.
if you loved your life, maybe that's why there's so many Elvis sightings.
Because he can't step away from it.
Yeah, he can't. he can't just
Would you
let it
look at
go.
that? Wow.
And so there's all these Elvis impersonation contests and stuff, and apparently there was a guy, I don't have his name because it would change supposedly at every place, but there was a guy who would go to these Elvis conventions and enter the Elvis impersonator, and he was the same guy, and he would hop around the country, and he was known as
and he would
Elvis.
kill it. He would kill it every time.
Yeah,
because
he
it
was
really
known,
was Elvis.
and it was this rumor that it was really him.
Right.
So there, aside from sightings, Elvis is supposedly seen all the time, still to this day. And I'm like, come on, dude. If Elvis is seen today, he still does not have that black hair.
No, he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, he is an old man. So
Unless he still be dying it.
true. There, some people say that Elvis's family and there's things around his estate that are weird. So there was an interview with Priscilla Presley, Elvis's wife,
right.
and talking about Lisa Marie Presley.
Right.
And Priscilla basically just says we were talking the other day, and he said this, and
as if he was still alive.
yeah, and I think it was an Oprah interview, and she
Yeah.
goes, "What do you mean?"
Right.
And she goes, "No, I mean you and I were talking the other day,
Right,
and
right.
stuff like that." Where
Like off comments that you question.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
Lisa Marie has had interviews where she hasn't come out in public. He said her dad was alive, but when she was young, she would use a lot of the wrong
Verbiage.
he was like this or he is like this
Sure,
or whatever.
Sure.
And so a lot of people point to that where I'm like, well, I don't know if I believe that one.
I don't know. They say that kind of stuff in profiling where they're like,
True.
you said is, that means they're still alive.
Yeah, or you said was, that means you know your wife is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she do Naked Gun? Wasn't she the love interest in Naked Gun?
Lisa Marie?
Yeah.
I don't know. She was Nicolas Cage's wife for a while. Because
That'll do
he's
it.
weirdly obsessed with Elvis.
Nicolas Cage, I was going to say, kind of has an Elvis vibe to him, so that makes sense.
Well, he played Elvis in a movie, I think.
I don't remember which one.
I
It wasn't
wanna say
Grace.
so.
It wasn't 5,000 Miles to Graceland or whatever it was.
I think that
That-
was Kurt Russell.
And Costner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mikey, tell me if Nicolas Cage was ever Elvis. So apparently Elvis's family, like I said in interviews, there's weird things that they just slip up.
Sure. Right. Makes
But
you
the
question.
big one that a lot of people hang on to is that supposedly his tombstone it has a typo.
Oh.
So his middle name is Aaron.
Okay.
And
Aaron.
It's Aaron, but so the way his name is spelled, his legal middle name was Aron.
Okay.
On his tombstone, it's Aaron.
So that's a different Elvis Aaron.
Well,
Presley.
according to the skeptics, putting his real name on the tombstone would have been taboo because he's still alive. And then
Big
supposedly,
Dig it up.
That
Dig it
one.
up.
yeah, supposedly, not too long before he died, he started going by Aaron.
Okay.
So some people are like, that was him slowly starting to change his name.
Interesting.
But really, a lot of the Elvis stuff comes down to supposed sightings of Elvis.
Sure. That makes sense. That makes sense because I think he again, so many people still follow him to this day.
Yeah.
That would be such a culture thing all the time that he could easily where's Waldo it
Yeah,
around these
totally.
people. So
I mean, if you believe
Yeah.
the movie Bubba Hotep or the graphic novel,
Yeah.
he's in a nursing home
Yeah.
fighting off mummies.
stupid.
So,
Yeah.
live your life.
Live your life. That's awesome. Who do you got next?
I don't have a ton on this one, but I
Okay.
think it's worth talking about is Marilyn Monroe.
I see.
I
this
didn't
is-
know there were
Yeah,
conspiracies
me
on that.
either. I didn't know that there was conspiracy about
So
her
a
actually
lot of
being
people
alive.
there isn't a lot of conspiracies about her faking her death.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of conspiracy about why she died.
Right.
So Marilyn Monroe was a huge star, back in the 50s. She
Yeah.
was known for, Some Like It Hot with the shot with her dress shooting up over the
Right.
sewer grate. She was found dead in her home at 36 years old in Los Angeles in August 1962. August 5th, 1962.
Okay. Yeah.
Her death was ruled an overdose of barbiturates,
Right.
so like pills, as probable suicide.
See, but I feel like she probably got herself in that spot that it was just too much to take.
Accidental overdose, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, I need to sleep. I'm
Well,
an insomniac.
and you know, like I don't know if this is the case either, but like back in the day, a lot of especially women were medicated.
Sure.
They're like Judy Garland was one who spoke out about this later in life. They were given uppers to be happy and peppy and stay awake, and then they were given pills to go to sleep.
Got it.
Every single day.
Right, and that would just mess with your psyche.
Oh, and she had a huge drug problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest starlet in the world, there's no way she isn't being controlled and possibly medicated.
Very true.
So there were tons of rumors of affairs with JFK and Robert Kennedy.
I've heard that, yes.
The Happy Birthday, Mr. President song. A ton of people, like, reportedly saw them together. There are some reports that it wasn't even a secret that Marilyn Monroe and JFK were fucking.
It's just like it's just straight up open.
Well, I mean, he's a president. What are you going to do about it?
I'd like to enter
Shoot
your
him?
cabinet.
Oh, we'll get there. So, yeah. So then Robert Kennedy, his, I think, brother or cousin or whatever, he was being groomed to be another Kennedy in the White House.
Yeah.
And so there are rumors that they were together too. And so a lot of people don't think she killed herself. They think that she was killed to keep her affair with the Kennedys a secret.
Oh.
Because some people
That she
think
was being moved around like a dirty doll.
well, some people think that even if it was just JFK, he told her things he shouldn't have.
Oh, sure. So
she
then
knew secrets.
Right. So she was compromised or
Yeah.
Yeah, or
So
the secrecy.
That's the bit. That's really it.
I could
That's
see that being the case, like with the U.S. government back
Yeah.
then. Like this is when did she die again?
62.
Dude, that's like Black Ops times.
Yeah.
Like that's literally like Cold War Black Ops times.
And like I said,
Yeah.
like now everything is tracked. Everything
Yeah.
is monitored. There's records of everything.
Right.
Back then, man, like you could just be like, take care of it.
Yep.
And then somebody goes off.
Sure.
And like, so especially like maybe she was a habitual drug user. Like
Yeah.
she took pills.
Yeah.
Maybe you came in and you just gave her more.
Sure.
Like, so I
So
don't know.
in this one though, what would be the reason aside from like not actually having her killed, just faking it?
No,
though?
this one, I don't think she faked her death.
Oh, I see. This is just
A conspiracy.
the conspiracy around the death. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
and there's another
sure.
one that I'll talk about that similar, related.
Right.
I'm not arguing that they are dead.
Sure.
It's just conspiracies around it.
Tinfoil hat, baby.
So this next one is did they fake their death or are they still alive?
Oh.
Do you know?
Shimona.
Michael Jackson.
You gotta get over here.
So, Michael Jackson, easily one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, right?
Yes.
He's still insanely popular. Like he was like light years ahead. Like his dance moves were incredible.
Dude,
His music was
epic,
incredible.
Epic. I actually
as-
rewatched the video of him doing the moonwalk for the first time, and
Dude.
they just go nuts.
It's wild. Like
Yeah.
he had some issues in his personal life.
Yes,
I
he did.
won't argue that.
Very much so.
But as an artist, he was incredible.
Let's go to Neverland.
So, Michael Jackson obviously had some issues later in life. But so June 25th, 2009, he died of cardiac arrest in his Neverland Ranch home.
Okay, because this was, I guess it has been over a decade now.
It's been 12 years now.
But I
whatever it is.
remember when that news hit, and I remember like everybody, I mean, we worked at Blockbuster at the time. We put out Michael Jackson movies and memorabilia and stuff
Yeah.
on the end caps and stuff
Yes.
like that when he passed. Like, that's pretty nuts. But this is one that I actually,
You were very
I
deep in
went
it.
down the rabbit hole on Michael Jackson's fake death.
Yes.
And so I'm curious after you're done.
There
to
is
see-
a video
Yeah.
that I'm going to talk about.
Is that
I
in the helicopter?
Yes, let me get there, damn it.
I'm sorry. This one
God,
freaking
I'm
made
trying to be cryptic. You mean the one with this one that I sent you?
Andy, do you want to present on this one?
No,
yeah,
no,
you
no,
know
no.
so much about it. Why don't you talk about it?
Do you want to present from 12 years ago when you watched a video?
Yeah.
No, I
I
don't.
didn't just do hours worth of research in my little notebook that I wrote everything down.
It's like the end of the movie, and I was just like, by the way, Thanos dies. I'm just like,
By the way, he's been dead the whole time. Bye. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
So basically, like, just his death, like, just him dying.
Yeah.
Not even arguing if he's still alive, but just him dying has been the cause of so much speculation.
Sure.
So he died of, like, basically, like, his heart stopped due to fentanyl overdose.
Okay.
Fentanyl's wild.
Yeah, right.
So basically, a lot of people speculated that his doctor was slowly poisoning him.
I heard about that, too. Yeah.
Actually, his doctor was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter for Michael Jackson's death. He was in jail for 2 years.
Right.
So, if for nothing else,
There's already some proof.
he was the reason Michael Jackson is dead.
Right.
Now, Michael Jackson had drug addiction. That's his own issue.
Sure.
But that doctor probably wasn't the best doctor on the planet. But yeah, some people said that the doctor was slowly poisoning him, which I couldn't really find like a motive for that.
Right.
Like, he's paying you.
Sure. Unless the family.
It
could have been that because I know they were after Michael Jackson's money for a lot of different things.
And he was running out of it.
And he was also fighting with his family over that type of stuff. They thought that they deserved certain amounts of like his cash for whatever reason, whether it was royalties, licenses.
Well, his dad
whatever was his manager, wasn't he?
for a real, yeah. And then, well, his dad was a bad dude,
Yeah,
and
right.
there was a lot of child abuse and stuff that they all dealt with.
Yeah.
And I think that the rest of the Jackson 5 felt that that's where Michael got his start,
Right.
and so he owed them.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, it was us. We put you on a pedestal first.
And I would not argue that, but I also would.
Sure.
Because he was a part of an ensemble group. It's like Justin Timberlake.
It's the same thing. You go
Yeah.
off on your own, do your solo thing. If
He
you're
made
It'd
it
be like
solo-
Lance Bass being like, I made you,
Yeah.
Justin
Yeah,
Timberlake.
you owe me.
Right.
Yes. And I think that is a bunch of bullshit because Michael Jackson, it'd be different if his sound was exactly the same as the Jackson 5.
Right.
Everything was the same. He
Right.
had his own sound
Yeah.
and his
Yeah,
own
he was in
moves.
Motown.
His own moves.
So-
yeah.
So, a lot of people think that he faked his death because he was so heavily in debt.
Oh, sure.
He
yeah.
owed so much money on Neverland Ranch. He
Right.
owed money to those people. He was in the process of filing for bankruptcy. And,
Dealing with all this negative publicity for various things.
Well, he
yeah.
was-
You said it.
I was going to let it go.
I said it wrong?
You said it right.
No, you said publicity, not publicity. I'm so proud of you.
proud mom.
They're both crying right
Proud
now.
mom.
Tears.
Okay, go on.
So
Okay.
basically, like, at this point, what is it, 2009, Michael Jackson has already publicly been accused of child endangerment, child
Right.
molestation, I think
Right.
twice.
Yeah, pretty intense.
And from what I was able to gather, he knew that there were some more charges or like an investigation about to
coming.
happen.
Yeah.
So some people think that maybe it was suicide
Right.
or that he faked his death to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
Because it would also cover his money issues.
Everything, yeah. What he had left, he could keep himself.
Yes, and he was kind of a recluse. I mean, he absolutely was a recluse, but like
Right.
he apparently like he just would have money stashed places, and he I guess had talked about like escaping everything, and like so sometimes it's like I wonder if maybe he took a big old bag of money and
yeah,
left.
sure.
And I mean, it's Michael Jackson.
I remember seeing like an interview with him, and he just bought like the most weird, lavish stuff.
Yep. Oh yeah.
He would just buy weird lamps and statues and stuff like that, and he would just be like, "I just like it. That's just my favorite. I like it." Like,
So
When he likes something, he goes, hi,
I need that. Stupid.
So, no, truthfully, if you ever want to see some weird shit,
Yeah.
go look at pictures of the abandoned. I don't think it's abandoned anymore.
Oh, the
but like
ranch.
empty pictures of Neverland Ranch.
I thought it
Yeah.
got sold or something.
It did get
Yeah.
sold, but like there are pictures of just like not a million people there, no parties or anything,
Yeah.
just like what it looks like. Interesting.
Yeah, sure.
But he basically, because he was such a famous person, he
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
couldn't leave his house. And there was people outside of his house every single day, even up until when he died.
Right.
He just wanted to be a person.
Sure.
And he never could.
Right.
And like so I was watching this article and he was basically like or this interview. They basically were like, why did you make Disneyland at your house? Why don't
Right,
you just
right.
go to Disneyland? And he goes, I can't go to Disneyland.
Right. Sure. Sure.
He's like, I can't.
There's no way I could even enjoy it being Michael Jackson.
No, and he goes, it's also not right for me to close the park down so I can enjoy it.
Sure.
And he goes, and how would I enjoy it by myself?
So might as well just have a Disneyland in my backyard.
And it's like, I can kind of understand that.
Sure, that makes sense.
He was the most famous person on the planet, dude. Like, so, so there have been a handful, not a ton, of like supposed sightings of him.
Right.
One that was supposed to be like it
Right.
was he was at the border going from California to Mexico, and he was seen by a border patrol agent.
Right.
There is a video of him online.
Oh my God.
That is supposedly his body being airlifted away from Neverland, and you can supposedly see his arm move.
I've seen it, and it doesn't look like his arm moves. It looks like he sits the F up. Like, it's crazy. You guys need to research it right now. Like, that one got me. Like, I was like, no way.
I remember Andy showed it to me and was like, you gotta watch this video.
I still think that if it was truly the coolest conspiracy ever, and then during an anniversary of Thriller, he literally comes up from the grave and starts dancing.
As a zombie.
Yeah. Just like,
Yeah. I mean, Thrill is easily one of the greatest songs of all time. But yeah, and then one of the more wild ones I saw was that he didn't actually die. He had sexual reassignment surgery to become LaToya Jackson.
Oh my God.
That one's pretty out there, but it's 2021, so I would not be surprised these days.
I was just kind of like, well, LaToya was already a person.
Right? Or maybe she's gone.
So what happened to LaToya?
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that she actually died. And then he decided...
He's like, here's my opportunity.
He decided to take the opportunity to...
Our faces already look like jack-o'-lanterns.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
kinda.
matter. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my last one.
Yes.
Okay.
This is not... Is he still alive? This is just death conspiracy theories.
Sure, fair enough. Okay.
John F. Kennedy.
That might be the biggest one just because of what surrounds the death.
Yes, I think
It's
this is one of the
nuts.
biggest conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So, JFK was assassinated November 22nd, 1963 in Texas. Lee Harvey Oswald was the shooter, and he was charged with the assassination, but he denied responsibility for the killing, claiming that he was a patsy. He said that the whole time.
Right.
So, whole time, 2 days later,
Sure.
he was shot and killed by a man named Jack Ruby. But
It was like, that guy knows some stuff.
Well, Jack, he was shot. So basically, it was like live TV. They were taking him from the Dallas Police headquarters
Right.
somewhere else, and Jack Ruby shot him live on TV.
Well, how easy is
Dang.
that, though, when someone's like, what was your motive? And he's like, he killed my president.
He killed the president.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
that's it. Like, you
Right.
wouldn't even dig it more.
And I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna have to look it up on my own. I don't know if Jack Ruby how long he was in jail,
Right.
because he literally like on TV in front of a bunch of cops killed a guy.
Right, but also killed the guy who murdered the president. I can only
The whole
imagine that
nation,
sentencing
the whole nation
probably wasn't even
was
crazy.
in mourning.
Right,
Like,
right. I guarantee you would have had people on one side of the camp be like, get him.
I don't know if now I don't know
for
because I
Mr.
obviously
Ruby.
was
Yeah.
not that long ago.
Yeah.
But I remember my mom and I talked about JFK once, and she like my parents talked about it, my grandma and stuff, and it was like, if you were alive, you knew where you were. It's like 9/11.
Yeah, yep,
Like, I mean,
yep.
but you think about it, your president was assassinated.
Right, and on television.
Live on television,
you
and his
see it.
brain was splattered all over his
Right,
wife.
and his wife literally like is cleaning it up off the side
Yes,
of the car.
like-
yeah, Crazy,
the
dude.
world stopped.
it's a crazy video.
There were people just
Yeah.
in the streets, like, so his death has so many theories around it.
Right.
Some of the theories include that he was killed because of involvement with the CIA.
Okay.
He had involvement with the mafia. Some people say that Lyndon B. Johnson, his vice president, who then
Right.
became the president,
Was looking to
had
move up.
him killed.
Yeah.
Assassination funded by Fidel Castro because it was Cuban Missile Crisis.
Right. Yeah.
The
that was some heavy stuff.
The KGB,
The
or
K-
a
the
combination,
KGB.
or a combination of any of them. Because there
Okay.
was an argument
Yeah.
saying that basically the KGB and like Cuba got together and killed him.
Well, I mean, think about it. He probably had many attempts
Oh.
that were thwarted before that, and maybe
I mean,
that
he's
was
the
the first
he's the
successful
president
What-
of a country.
What really gets me though is like when you start to get into the science of how the assassination happened and realizing that there could have been 2 shooters, right?
Yeah.
Was that debunked or is that still an active theory?
So I'm going to get there.
Okay, sorry.
So,
sorry. Michael Jackson helicopter.
Yes. So there was an FBI investigation and a Warren Commission report as basically said a CIA cover-up have led to the claim that the federal government covered up important information in the course of the investigation.
Wow, okay.
So basically the people who write reports on cases are like, yeah, there's some hinky shit that happened there.
Yeah, right.
So
A little bit of hibbity-jibbity going on.
the official file has only Lee Harvey Oswald as Kennedy's killer.
Okay.
In 1979, the United States House Committee on Assassinations, it's a group apparently, concluded that JFK was likely assassinated as a result of a conspiracy. The group determined that a second gunman is likely to have also fired at Kennedy based on acoustic evidence from footage taken that day.
Oh, so they could actually hear 2 shots.
This evidence has never been credited.
Got it.
But basically, some people say you hear a shot and then you hear another shot.
Right.
Some people are saying it's like a sound echoing thing.
Sure.
And then some people argue that it's 2 shots.
If you actually... You mean Lee Harvey Oswald was a pop? Is that what you're saying? What, one gun?
No,
2 different gunmen.
2 shooters.
Right. So you would think if that truly was the case, wouldn't you find the casing or bullet or something
Who knows?
out there?
If there was let's say there was a second shooter
Yeah.
and it missed or whatever.
Yeah. But, I mean...
And it
too far
just
from
goes into the
crime scene
ground
to
or
even-
it goes way over there or whatever.
into a high tree or...
Yeah, so it could be just never have been found.
Sure.
There have been a lot of inconsistencies found in the case. There is solid reports of evidence tampering, witness intimidation, and suppression of testimony.
Right. So there's obviously shit that went down around that assassination.
Yes.
And just a guy.
And I can understand on one side because it's the assassination of a president.
Right.
And they didn't exactly know what was happening. The only reason that Lee Harvey Oswald was caught was because he shot Kennedy, took off, went into a movie theater, and there was a police officer around there that he killed the police officer. So he was caught killing the police officer, and then I don't know how it happened that they figured out that he killed Kennedy. Infamously, there's footage of a man in a black coat with an umbrella who's in the crowd, and he's the umbrella man.
Okay.
And supposedly he disappears right after JFK was shot, and he's either thought to be the second gunman and have a umbrella gun or something, or
He's
that
a Batman villain.
or that he
Fucking
was
Penguin got him.
the mastermind behind this whole
Penguin.
plan,
Yeah.
making sure everything goes off without a hitch.
Okay.
That's all I have about JFK. But honestly, there have been pictures that were released that are supposedly JFK, on the corner table. And
I was going to say, when I was a kid, I used to go to, on dial-up, celebritymorgue.com.
Oh, I remember
mine was
that.
rotten.com.
Oh, I remember that. Yep.
And they had pictures of Tupac dead
Yeah.
and JFK dead.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's you can't substantiate any of it because
Yeah.
that's not information that can be released,
That
especially
one-
not of a
right.
president.
I was going to say that one feels the most likely that a conspiracy theory is not a conspiracy theory. One of them is correct. There's not just we know that we know that he murdered him, but the fact that he was killed immediately, very sus.
Yeah, and
Very
Jack Ruby, I
sus.
looked it up, and he was convicted and sentenced to death, but then he got a retrial. It was overturned, and then he got cancer and died so quickly that he never got a retrial.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
So he was technically unconvicted.
Maybe he got cancer because did you ever hear stories about the KGB poisoning people
Yeah,
and
sure.
they get cancer because the radiation and
Yeah,
stuff?
it could have been
Maybe
that.
that's what
It
happened.
could have been
Maybe
that.
he was a KGB informant.
Maybe the KGB killed JFK.
That was part of the conspiracy.
There is no KGB. No,
Well-
so that's what it is, dude.
Well,
I think
holy schmolies.
I think that maybe there were or weren't 2 shooters, but I think definitely some shit was not reported.
Yeah.
And there was some evidence tampering. There was probably some investigative stuff that went awry.
Somebody fat black Sharpied them documents, dude.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
redacted, redacted,
Yeah.
redacted. But I mean, like, if you think about it, a crime is committed, right? In front of all these people.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's going to take off running.
Yeah.
So these witnesses, you have to round them all up. But then your main goal is going to be tending to the president.
Of course. Yeah.
So-
yeah, sure.
Shit is going to get moved around.
Right.
Maybe there was a second bullet that fragmented off that kind of in the craziness got pushed into something else and it's hidden somewhere.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
obviously it came from a rifle, but even that would have, 1960s rifles versus today,
sure.
right? You probably couldn't have shot that far away. Somebody more.
He was up in like the book depository, like up in a tower.
I still feel like people would have heard from the building and where it was, and like you would have had more reports. I would assume that day, truly, of other people being like, "Yeah, I heard a shot in that building, and I heard a shot here."
But if you're not paying
Or-
attention to it, you may not know where it came
Maybe
from.
that's true.
But there's also like you also have to think about it. There's a huge parade happening with the president.
yeah.
So there might be music, but there's vehicles, people cheering.
A lot of stuff
were
going
they
on.
also doing gunshots? You know how sometimes they salute,
Oh, I don't know.
like a gun, like a. I don't know if they used
It was
to do
it was
that
a
or if that was
motorcade
only
though, so
for,
I don't know if it would
Yeah.
have
for
been.
deaths of military, but yeah.
But
there-
no,
Go ahead.
no, I was just thinking about like just the local parades.
Yeah.
That it's loud.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a silent parade that
Right,
you
and
can
there's
hear
you're
like
right, there's probably like some band or marching
Something.
band or something. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think that and like I said, it's so long ago
Yep.
that
It's not even true anymore.
no, I mean I just think it's totally feasible for evidence to be mismanaged
Yeah.
or even just
Totally.
misplaced and somebody covered it up.
Even the stuff we learn about these days now, where it's like, oh, that we actually do have some extraterrestrial, stuff that we've known about for a long time that
Well,
we don't
even-
want to tell you.
yeah.
Like, there's
Well, I
gotta
mean,
be
like,
more
I don't
stuff.
know if this is a different episode that I think I totally want to do more of,
Yeah.
like more conspiracy theory stuff. Like even fucking Watergate.
Yeah.
The president was involved in a cover up.
Sure.
That he was found out for trying to cover shit up and was impeached.
Right.
So it only makes sense that 10 years earlier,
Right.
some cover up
Same
shit could have
garbage would
happened.
have happened.
I was gonna say real quick, weren't there other conspiracies around the JFK murders about like the other people in the car and them not being hit,
Well, there was
or like
one,
didn't it go through somebody?
I don't know
or,
about
like
that.
something?
But there was rumors that Jackie Kennedy was actually the intended target.
There's also Mandela effect. people claim it was a 6-seater vehicle, and when you watch the video, it's a 4-seater vehicle. But people that were there were like, no, it was a 6-seater, and then now when you see the video footage, it's a 4-seater, which doesn't make any sense.
Mind blown.
Just saying, that has nothing to do with the conspiracy theory. Here we go.
That's all I got.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
I want to say thank you for
It was-
doing that.
that was great.
research.
Sure, man.
I know we were quiet, but Ash and I were just like listening.
I know when I'm really
intently.
enjoying what you're talking about, I get really quiet and I feel bad, but
No,
Yeah.
you're good.
I like it.
It would also be
So I
annoying
hope
to be
everyone
like,
else enjoys it too.
No, and
the whole time you're
and-
trying to talk.
Yeah. So honestly, like if you guys are listeners, if this kind of conspiracy stuff is interesting to you, I could go down 80 other rabbit holes.
If you're like, this was the most boring one you guys have ever done, tell us and we won't do it again
Please don't tell me. I can't handle it. No, truthfully, like this was really fun. I would
Yeah.
love to I would love to do like, is Beyonce in the Illuminati?
I know she
like
is.
all that stuff.
That's
or,
real.
So yeah, dude, if it was interesting, let me know.
Boom.
Yeah.
Amanda, where can people find us?
You can let me know if this was interesting on our Instagram page. Find us at Real Awkward.
That's the
No,
best.
it's at Real Awkward Podcast on Instagram. Check us out. If you like our show, if you can review it, we'd really appreciate it. It helps get us out to other people. If you like us, send us to somebody you know. If you think they would like one of our episodes, shoot it over to them.
Send it to your mom.
Don't send it to your mom.
Okay. All right. As always, guys, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.